Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sherrard Show. I'm your host, Sherrard. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. I know I am for our very special Saturday episode where I know typically you see me in studio, but today I'm at home on Zoom for a very special segment where we're going to be honoring boxers. We're honoring legendary boxers who've contributed and put their blood, sweat, and tears on the line, being able to captivate audiences all over the world. We're talking to a gentleman who has had an illustrious career. He actually started in 1989 and boxed all the way to 2002, winning championships in two different weight classes. They call him Poison Junior Jones. First time on the Sherrard Show. We'll be talking to him momentarily. But before we begin, the Sherrard Show is brought to you by Pure Essence Television, where you can see this episode and many more, such as The Temptations, currently trending, Mickey Stevenson, Melissa Manchester, Joe Montega, and many more. Just click on the link right there on your monitor, and you can see Pure Essence Television and watch some of the greatest episodes of your life. It's also brought to you by iHeartRadio. If you missed this broadcast on television, you can also listen to it on iHeartRadio. Just click the link below. Well, this gentleman has spent many years in the ring, fighting different opponents. He has captivated audiences all over the world, and he is known for his style as well as his quickness, and this is his first time on the Sherrard Show. The man himself, Mr. Poison Junior Jones. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
It's an honor having you on the show, Junior. Let's talk first about your career. What got you started into boxing some 30-something plus years ago?
My sister, she used to beat me up, so I got into boxing to defend myself against her.
Your sister used to beat you up.
Yeah, she did. So I got into boxing to try to get myself back at her.
Did you ever think that your career would go where it is, where it went all the way from 89 to 2002, based upon you just getting into it rather recreational?
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, everything happened just quickly, so I was just doing my job and things just occurring.
Mm-hmm. So now, Junior, when you look at boxing today, like a week ago, Friday, Mike Tyson got into the ring again to fight Jake Paul. When you watch things like this, or even if you did watch the match, what is it? How do you feel about people playing boxing and coming in to fight, world-renowned athletes or boxers and champions like Mike Tyson?
I think it makes a joke out of the sport, is because I think they take the joke. I mean, they take the sport not seriously, but taking guys who's unknown relative to nobody and fighting guys like Mike Tyson. I think it's just comical.
Now, when you look at boxing, for example, Junior, when you got into the ring and you fought your first fight, first of all, you won the Golden Gloves twice. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when you won it twice, was that the time you felt like it's time for me to go professional, or you were just still doing it recreationally?
No, I was still doing recreational. I just, I turned pro. I just did it just because I just wanted to turn pro. I had one fight, retire, but I kept going.
Now, when you look at boxing, some 35 years ago, for example, when you started, has a lot changed since you started to now?
Yes, a whole lot changed. I mean, fighters changed. Fighters are different. I think the main thing the fighters changed. All the sport itself, things are relatively the same, but fighters are totally different.
So now when you say totally different, what do you mean in particular?
They don't fight. That's the difference. When I was fighting, like, so the money's greater now. So back then, you had to fight hard to earn a good living. But now it's like you ain't got to fight, just talk good, have a good mouthpiece, talk trash, and that sells tickets.
It's something. It's interesting you say that because I'm a boxing junkie, and I remember when I was a kid, in the heavyweight division. First of all, the heavyweight division was the prime division. It was the heavyweight division, then there was everything else. Now it's more the welterweight division, and then there's everything else. But I remember watching when I used to see Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali fought Ken Norton. Ken Norton fought Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier fought Ernie Shavers. Ernie Shavers fought Joe Frazier. It went on and on. Everybody fought everybody. Is that what you're meaning when you say that people don't fight?
Yeah, I mean, the best is scared to fight the best. So you want to see fights where the unified title become one champion, and you don't get that today. Now they got the thing where you pick fights. They got the B side, A side, which is ridiculous. Well, what's to be said either side? So I think that messes up the sport.
Now, what is it that you think boxers don't want to fight each other like that? They don't want to take a L or what? What do you say?
Not that nobody will take the L. They might feel they keep their records on blemish and get paid more because it's more attractive to the fans. But I don't think they don't want to fight it. Everybody's scared to take a loss. So that's what it comes down to.
Now, when we skip down, when we move up to the 80s, we see that Marvin Hagler fought Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran fought Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray fought Thomas Hearns, and everybody fought everybody. So it kept it going. But Roy Jones Jr. was quoted saying that Floyd Mayweather, he believed, messed up the sport because he didn't fight everybody. Is that something you agree with?
No, I don't know. I don't agree. I think Floyd fought whoever they put him in the ring with me. But he fought most guys he fought. He did actually fight them. Most guys he fought had no choice. So even the fight he had no choice, he fought them. Like, he didn't have to pick and choose a choice back then. But like I said, he fought, tough guys, good guys. I give him credit. He's a good fighter. He's not the best ever, but he's a good fighter.
Very good. Now, speaking on the best ever, who would you rank as your top 3 or maybe 5 boxers ever?
I'll say Hagler. I'll say Raylan and Hearns.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's a powerful group you listen there. Now, Junior, for those who are watching and they say, you know what, I want to start being a boxer. I think I can do this. I want to be a boxer. I want to go out there for the sport. I love the sport, but I also want to get paid too. What kind of advice would you give them?
I gotta choose your options carefully. Boxing all about getting paid. It's a training regimen that you gotta go through to get paid. It takes a lot to get to that level. It's not that guys get to that level just fighting anybody. You gotta take the toughest fight, the best fights to get to that level first of all, before you start getting paid.
So now, Junior, how long did it take for you to start getting paid and making money in a business of boxing?
And 10, maybe I wanted to when I won the title. So it took me about maybe because I was ranked number 1 for many years. I couldn't nobody would fight me. So for me, it took me about maybe 6, 7 years.
Now, did you run into a lot of politics in boxing?
Yeah. But every time I was number 1 in every division. So for me to get a title fight, every time it came to the mandatory, guys would get hurt. Champions say, give me an excuse. So I waited so long to get to the title.
Now, when you look at Mike Tyson, now when you were boxing, Poison, Mike Tyson was just getting started. Actually, he was 3 years in the game. So 1989, Mike Tyson started in 1986. Now, what division were you?
I was bantamweight, featherweight, junior featherweight, junior lightweight.
Now, is it a truism that the guys actually feared and were terrified and thinking about throwing a fight when it came to fight Mike Tyson the night before?
I think it's mythical because you got months prepared. So you don't wait the night before and say, no, like, I don't want to fight this guy. So I think that's just mythical. According to the era, to the aura Mike Tyson gave out. But I think guys, they had to fight. They didn't have to fight him. Regardless of what it was against, they knew they had to fight him eventually.
There's been some very interesting nicknames, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, James Lights Out Tony, and so on. But where did the name Poison come from?
Poison came from my real original name. My birth given name is Ivy Jones Jr. And when I was in school, people used to call me Poison Ivy, Poisonous. So that's where I got Poison from.
It's probably quite intimidating knowing that you're going to be fighting a man named Poison the next night. It's pretty intimidating. Now, for those who are watching, Junior, and they want to ask you questions or be able to get tips on boxing and things like that, where would they be able to reach out to you?
Online, I guess. You can do that. PoisonJL.com.
Very good. Any final thoughts, Poison?
No, just that. You're gonna box, take it seriously, make sure your heart's in and not just doing it for the money. Do it for the money. You get hurt. Do it because you have a love for the sport.
Poison, I want to thank you so much for taking a moment to stop by on the Sherrod Show. We really appreciate that, giving your words of wisdom as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a quick commercial break. We're going to have the man himself, Mr. Vito Antuofermo, stopping by the Sherrod Show right after this.
You've captured their stunt doubles!
Today we're going to be featuring stunt people.
I'd like to give you just a little bit of history first, is that there was the BSA, the Black Stuntmen's Association.
Billy D. Williams is one of the biggest names that you stunt double for, but it's a lot more than you think, right?
I get my 5 points. Why we still need daylight savings time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherrod Show. I'm your host, Sherrod, for our very special Saturday conversation. Thoroughly enjoyed speaking to the man himself, Mr. Poison Jr. Jones, about his illustrious career. We wish him best in his endeavors. He boxed from 1989 all the way to 2002, a real gentleman and a scholar. And the show continues on because this gentleman actually had the privilege of fighting Marvin Hagler twice, ladies and gentlemen. He had an illustrious career that spanned many years. You can see him on some of your favorite Mafia movies. I've seen him on Sopranos, Goodfellas, and so many more. We're going to talk to him. It's a legendary boxer. First time on the Sherrod Show, the man himself, Mr. Vito Antuofermo.
Exactly.
Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you.
You know, it's wonderful. I've been following your career for many years because, you know, I was a big fan of Marvin Hagler as well as yours. But tell us a little bit about how you got your start, Vito. Was your sister beating you up too?
No, not really. I had two sisters, but they were smaller than me. They sang up on me, but what really beat me up was I had an older brother. He used to beat me up. And what happened, the story goes that it was me that the cop found me in the street, took me to the gym. But the real story was that the cop really found my brother back in 1968 fighting in the street. We just came from Italy at the time, and he was a little older than me. I was only 15 at the time, and he got caught by a cop by the name Joe Dwyer in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. And they took him to the gym first. And then while he was at the gym and he was learning, and we got into a fight, me and him got into a fight one day. And all of a sudden, this was like after a couple of weeks going to the gym, I could see that he knew a lot. And one day I followed him. And that's how I wound up with it. Just the real story that the cop took me to the gym. But the real story is that was my older brother went to the gym first. He got caught fighting in the street from a cop by the name Joe Dwyer. He also passed about 5 years ago. I became a very good friend with him.
Now, Vito, what was boxing like when you first started? What was the business like?
Well, in the amateur, you know, it was just like now. You know, I fought in Golden Gloves. Me and my brother fought in Golden Gloves. What happened to him in 1970? He got a cut on top of his head, and while he was fighting, he was winning the fights. I was also winning the fights. We were both. They were saying that we were both going to go to the final that year, 1970, in the Golden Gloves. And what happened to him, they got a cut on top of his head. He came to the quarterfinal in the Golden Gloves, and his whole head was all infected because they didn't treat it well. So they disqualified him. And I went on, I won the title, 1970. And I lost to, believe it or not, I lost to the fight, which I thought I won. 1971, I beat him the first year. Ali Mustafa Muhammad, you remember him, right?
That is correct.
Yes, he beat me by decision in 1971 at the final in Golden Gloves, but I beat him in a preliminary in the Gloves 1970.
Now, Vito, you've had 50 victories in boxing. That is unprecedented. As well as Poison had 50 victories, and you fought some very tough fights because back then everybody fought everybody.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah, everybody fought everybody, right?
now
I didn't.
you were
Go
very
ahead, yeah.
passionate and very skilled. But what were you most known for as a boxer? Your left hook?
Well, I didn't have a hard punch, but I never got tired. I started the first round. From the first round, I felt the same way up to the 15th round. Never got tired. I had a lot of stamina.
Ooh, that'll do a boxer in right there, an opponent. Because you keep coming. That's a long 15 rounds.
Yeah,
Fight for 15 rounds back then.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I trained. I last longer, but I feel sorry sometimes for some of these guys. Most of the guys, matter of fact, they used to win the fights at the beginning. When I fought Marvin Hagler, one of the greatest fighters I've ever lived, he was winning up to the 8th, 9th round. He was winning the fight big. And until I realized, they told me that you lose in the fight. I was the champ at the time, 1979. And I came on strong in the last 5 rounds. And that's how I retained the title that year.
So
But he
now,
was one of the greatest fighters I've ever lived.
and he's my dad's favorite fighter of all time, him and Muhammad Ali. But now, what was so difficult, or what was so, why was Marvin Hagler such a skilled boxer?
Well, first thing, I fought 5 different southpaws. He was the hardest southpaw I've ever fought. And even watching him, you couldn't figure him out. Because as you know, usually southpaws, we never had really many southpaws in boxing history. But he was one of the best southpaws that I've ever lived. He was the best southpaw that I've ever lived.
And he kept coming, and it was very difficult to hurt him.
Very, very. Sugar Ray Leonard, the reason he ran away with that fight, Hagler just didn't want anymore. They asked, not that they forced him to fight that fight, but he really didn't want it anymore before he fought him. I think he did it for the money. He made more money in that fight than probably throughout his whole career. That's why he took that fight. He was old. He was too old to fight him. Plus, he won the fight. I thought he won the fight. Anyway.
He thought so too.
Yes.
He sure
was
did.
very bitter. I met him because, as you know, after he retired from that fight, he moved to Italy.
He sure did.
You know that. And I was there back in 1990. I was there for like 6, 7 months. And remember The Godfather Part 3?
How could I forget?
Did you see me there?
I sure did.
Yeah. Well, the whole movie was filmed in Italy, as you know, because 3/4 of the movie takes place inside, and we filmed that in Italy. And sure enough, when I went there, I find out that Marvin Hagler was living in Rome. And sure enough, he calls me up. He wants a part of the movie. So I went to Francis Coppola, so I became very friend with him. And I told him, listen, I got a friend of mine. I fought him, Marvin Hagler. He wants part in the movie. So he says, well, tell him to come. So one day I called him up. I said, listen, why don't you come over? Let me see, I'll introduce you. So I'll introduce you. He told me that he was going to try to fight a couple scenes for him. But then for some reason they couldn't do it. And, friends fought Coppola says, Vito, this is a Mafia movie. We can't find no black part in a Mafia movie. I said, why not? So he started laughing at me. But anyway, I was trying to put him in a movie. You remember seeing The Godfather Part 3?
Of course.
You saw me there, right?
Yes, I saw you.
And I was trying to put Marvin Hagler because he was living in Rome at the time. And
I saw you on The Sopranos too.
Yes, right.
I saw you on The Sopranos too. Now, Vito, speaking of the mob, in the 50s and all the way back to the 30s and 40s, the mob ran the boxing game. And for many times they would pressure, boxers to throw the fights and things like that. Sugar Shane once mentioned that he was approached to throw fights and things like that. Is that something that ever happened to you?
Never heard of it, never. I've seen these guys that you're talking about, but I never met any one of them, I mean, I met them, but say hello, because everybody used to follow me at the time. But I never knew what was that all about it. But I heard about it, all this mafia. I really didn't know what the hell it was all about.
Now, Vito,
Right.
when you look at like a week ago, Friday, Mike Tyson getting in the ring fighting a YouTuber who turned boxer. What are your thoughts when you see that, when people come in, basically not from grassroots and they're fighting legends or attempting to box? What are your thoughts?
No, but I think that's wrong, because if he doesn't feel now because he's still young, but he's going to feel those punches. He's going to feel later on in life. I mean, he may not feel them now, but that's going to hurt him. How old? He's got to be 40-some years old, no?
Jake Paul is 27.
And Mike,
Mike is 58.
oh, forget about it. Forget about it. I mean, to me, it's if I was one of his friends, which I am, I mean, I know we know each other. I'm not that close to him, but I would definitely suggest him not to do it.
Now, does the effects of your boxing career, you've boxed many years, does it still affect you as well?
I mean, I hear people saying that, I do forget things, more normal than anybody else. And it has some effect on me, yes. But another thing though, I'm not a school kind of guy, I only went up to high school. So, and a lot of fights I had, of course, that hurt me a little bit. I'm told a lot of times that I forget things here and there. That's it. But I speak well, and it doesn't affect me at all. But some people tell me the fact that sometimes that I forget things, could be from one minute to another, and that's probably from boxing, because I have a brother, 2 sisters. I have 4 kids myself. They're all up to be old college graduates.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Vito, what kind of advice would you give someone who's watching and they want to get into the sport of boxing because they want to be heavyweight champion or some kind of champion?
Yeah. Well, to stay clean, stay off drugs, and do the right training. Because if you do the right training, you're not going to get hurt. If you're in shape, no matter who you fight, you're not going to get hurt. You
Very
might
good.
lose. It all depends on who you're fighting. But if you're in shape, because a lot of people want to do it, they like boxing, they want to do it without training. You got to be in shape. You got to take a lot of rest.
Very good. Now, Vito, between you and Poison, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to reach out to you after seeing this episode. Where can they reach out to you if they want to have some questions or pointers or even tips from you?
Well, they could call Gigi in.
Or they could email me.
Email me at got the gig
At him.
at AOL.
Okay, got the gig at AOL. You can see it right on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Vito, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and taking a moment of your day and evening to stop by on the Sherrard Show. We definitely wish you the best, as well as Poison Junior Jones. Thank you so much for stopping by the show, as well as the lovely Gigi bringing these boxers.
Oh.
We're doing a special segment on honoring boxers and giving you all your flowers while you're with us, because we're not only having you on the show, but we're also fans as well. Any final thoughts?
Thank you very much, Travis. I'm hoping that we could do this again.
It would be an honor. It would be an absolute honor.
It would be our honor too, me and Poison over here.
Thank you so much. For all those who are watching, always remember, ladies and gentlemen, our next episode of the Sherrard Show, we have Billy D. Williams stopping by the show, as well as Pam Greer. And also remember, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, you make sure you get to your destination safely. Don't eat too much turkey. And speaking of turkeys, if you ever want to soar with the Eagles, stop hanging around turkeys. I'm Sherrard. We'll see you next episode. Bye now.
Bye-bye.